Want to get your thoughts on the balancing act between human creativity and AI when it comes to creating content. I suspect a lot of companies follow different paths. There are companies that lean into original content. They may not be using ChatGPT or AI. They're traditional creators of content. There are companies that have leaned hard into AI, thinking that it's going to replace writers and allow them to create content easily and content at scale. And there are companies that are trying to pull both levers at the same time, using creativity, using their own writers, but also trying to enhance it or augment it with ChatGPT. What is your take on trying to intermix these two worlds, trying to leverage creativity and the power of humans to do things that are thoughtful and insightful, but at the same time, leveraging the power of AI? It's a tool and we should be using
Yeah.
it in some way, shape, or form. How are you approaching it? And what is the balancing act?
I wrote this post a long time ago, and I forget the exact title of it, but it's something like tools optimize processes.
Hmm.
They're not like a replacement for like humans. And I feel like people often forget that. It's the same thing with AI. If you have a set process for your business and there's ways that you can optimize pieces of it with AI, by all means use it. I'm not against AI as a tool because, again, I think it will change a lot of things. I don't know if we know at this point necessarily what it's going to change yet. Is ChatGPT going to be the winner long term? Will even LLMs be a thing that we interact with in the way that we do today? Or will it be some other way that we interact with querying AI? I don't know yet. But I think if you have challenges coming up with content ideas and you could use that as a way to generate more ideas or help it exercise your own creativity if you're stuck, great way to use it. If there's certain pieces of your process that could be automated, if I can feed an interview to an LLM and get a summary of it back, and there's certain key points that came from that interview in the summary that I forgot about or maybe weren't as pronounced, that could be a great way to use it. I think every company should just look at their own content creation process and figure out what pieces of their process could be more automated, whether it's brainstorming new ideas, coming up with topics, whether it's some editing portion in it. I don't know exactly what that is. I can say for us, there's not too much stuff we're using it for right now.
Mhm.
I can say sales meeting summaries using Zoom's AI transcription. It helps us remember certain sales conversations that we've had. We use Otter. We've used it even before a lot of the LLM stuff came out, the way to transcribe interviews. There's certain tools that will become very helpful and save time. But for us, in terms of content creation as just an overall thing that we're doing, I don't see too many ways of using it that's going to save us a ton of time in our process because we have a very set process. We think it works for a very specific reason. And we want to keep doing things that way. It's good to stay focused on how things are changing. But again, things don't change all that quickly. I think there's so many people even pontificating on how Google will change with the rollout of SGE. The reality is we just don't know until it rolls out and we actually get to test things.
Mhm.
I think trying to get too far ahead of things instead of just focusing on what works now can be a recipe for disaster because you're spending all this time thinking about how search could change in a year or two or even longer than that instead of just doing what works now. If more companies just focused on how to be the best at doing what works now, they'd have a lot more success than trying to think too deeply into what are all the possible things that could go wrong with my approach in the future.